Hello and good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. We're back after a long weekend. We are back. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you as always. I hope you had a good holiday weekend. It feels weird to say that now on Wednesday after one work day back into the week with another one coming. But we're back. I hope you had a good holiday weekend. Frog, good to see you, my friend. Happy Wednesday to you. How you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. I worked through mine, but that was the plan. That was the plan all along. And now today we are back for another Opening Lines stream. So I'm excited to see what books we're going to get today. Who knows what it'll be? I don't. You guys do. You know at least a little bit. Some of them. Should be fun. Let me grab my note document over here. There we go. Frog, I do feel very productive after my weekend. In fact, it is the most words I have ever written in a short period of time. Cool kid on YouTube. Howdy. Welcome in. Yeah, I have written a lot of words, y'all. This has just been an experiment for myself to see how many I could write. But we are at 60,000 words written since last Thursday. So 6 days. Basically 10,000 words a day. Or every day since last Thursday. It's been a lot. And we finish it on Friday. So 3 more days of it and then we get there. So then I will be free. And my experiment will be concluded. And I can go back to writing at a normal pace. So it's been fun. Very productive. Michael, welcome in. Rafi, good to see you too. How you doing? Michael, you just got Paragon of Unity yesterday. You haven't started it yet because of law school. Hey, totally understandable, but thank you for grabbing a copy, my friend. That's awesome of you. I'm so glad you're enjoying that series. I don't get a lot of folks telling me that they're reading it, so it's nice to see that. Appreciate you, man, and good luck at law school. I know I say that a lot, but that's nuts. That's wild to me. Rock on, my guy. Aiden, good morning. Melissa Lee, good to see ya. Rafi, did you get good sleep? Melissa, good weekend for you? Uh-oh, I think TikTok's having a problem. Can y'all still hear me? Okay. Yeah, okay, there we go. Looks like it, there we go. Looks like we're okay. Y'all, TikTok's being a little weird today. It had like an update on its studio side of things, and then it wouldn't let me log in, so I spent like the first 5-6 minutes of getting ready for stream just trying to log in. But alright, looks like we're here. We're doing good, so I'm just not going to touch it. We're going to leave TikTok where it's at. Rafi, you're trying to figure out what your first TikTok post should be? My instinct was to give advice on that, and then I went, wait, I'm bad at TikTok. I'm bad at social media. So I don't know either, dude. Simp1X, good to see ya. Welcome in. Y'all, happy Wednesday and thanks for being here. Well, should we get to it? Should we start getting some books? Rafi, you asked music or dreams. What do I think? Music, man. I think your music's awesome. You're very talented with it. So I say music. Melissa Lee, you won't be here long, but you just popped in to say good morning. Well, good morning to you. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Hope you had a good long weekend. Azazel, hello, hello. 1009. The map is not finished. We'll be working on it again on Friday. Going to be a good time. I'm excited for it. But today we are doing my opening line stream, as I call it. So basically, what I'm going to ask for is folks drop the titles of your favorite books in chat. I'll write them down, and then we're going to look them up, and I will read the opening lines, and then we will analyze and discuss, and I'll give you kind of an author's perspective on why those opening lines are good, what the author was trying to do, etc., etc., etc. Oh, Raffi got the first one in. Masquerade by Terry Pratchett. All right. The Terry Pratchett titles continue. Thank you, Raffi. Yeah, oh, thank you, Frog. You're absolutely right. All of my streams are on yt.com as replays, so if you want to watch them, you can go do it there. Nick, she said Season of the Harvest. Okay, that sounds ominous. Is that a horror novel? I'm getting horror novel vibes from it. All right, and you said by Michael Hicks. All right, cool. Recorded. Azazel, is that a book? The Monsters I Called. I'm assuming so. It doesn't make a lot of sense as a comment on its own. So yeah, probably. And then 1009, you said Picking Daisies on Sunday. I'm assuming that's also a title. All right, so I've got those written down. Rock on. Okay, thank you guys. Phantom Hacker on YouTube, good to see you. Appreciate my small... Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that website name. YT audience. There we go. All right, Simp, I got yours as well. The Summer I Turned Pretty. That is a Netflix thing, right? Netflix thinks I will like that. It just keeps pushing it at me. Oh, Frog. Okay, Divine Comedy. Oh, my goodness. Been a long time since I've read that one. And Legacy Shy says Deadline by Chris Crutcher. Very good. Then we will do that. Oh, Amazon made it, Simp? Gotcha. Okay, wow. Titles coming fast now. I wish I could copy them out of TikTok chat instead of typing them down. It would be so much quicker. The 2-Week Curse. I think it's already scrolled away. The 2-Week Curse by Michael Chatfield. Got a lot of Michael authors in the chat today, at least book-wise. Jana, there will never be a better book series than The Lord of the Rings. That's fair. That's very fair. We can do Dune by Frank. I believe it's pronounced A-Bear, yeah? All right. I think I missed one in there. All right, well, if I missed it, if I didn't get yours, feel free to ask it later. But, yeah, Azazel, you can change your book up, for sure. Oh, Z. Okay, we got to throw that one in there. Magician by Raymond E. Feist. I loved that book growing up. I'm assuming you want Magician Apprentice. All right, y'all. That's a lot. That's a good list there. So I appreciate y'all. Let's jump into it. Let's get it. We'll start with Masquerade by Terry Pratchett. Appreciate your follows. Thank you, y'all. You have to bear with my slow typing today. My left hand is recovering at present from too much writing, repetitive stress injury. Always happens when I make a deadline push on books. There are consequences to writing too many words, it turns out. All right, let's grab this cover. Here we are, y'all. Masquerade by Terry Pratchett. I'm not sure if I've read this Pratchett book, actually. There's a lot of good ones out there, a lot to pick from. I do like the cover, though. It feels like they're updating a lot of the Pratchett covers, or I mean, they might have been doing this for a while and I've just missed it. But I like it a lot better than the mass market paperbacks. To be clear, I'm a big fan of mass market paperbacks, but I don't know, the Pratchett covers just never really did it for me. But y'all, let's dive into Masquerade. Alright, Masquerade by Terry Pratchett. The wind howled. The storm crackled on the mountains. Lightning prodded the crags like an old man trying to get an elusive blackberry pip out of his false teeth. What a description. Among the hissing furze bushes a fire blazed, the flames driven this way and that by the gusts. An eldritch voice shrieked, "When shall we, too, meet again?" Thunder rolled. A rather more ordinary voice said, "What'd you go and shout that for? You made me drop my toast in the fire." Nanny Og sat down again. "Sorry, Esme. I was doing it for, old time's sake. Doesn't roll off the tongue, though. I just got it nice and brown, too. Sorry. Anyway, you didn't have to shout. Sorry. I mean, I ain't deaf. You could have just asked me in a normal voice, and I'd have said, next Wednesday. Sorry, Esme. Just cut me another slice." Nanny Og nodded and turned her head. Margaret cut Granny a nut. Ooh, mind wandering there for a minute? I'll do it myself, shall I? Alright, Pratchett, very interesting. That's very interesting of an opening. It initially feels like a very Pratchett opening with a little bit of like interesting description. You don't really know what's going on. Some fun visuals. He's always gotta get us on the sucker punch with some bizarre simile. So today's bizarre Pratchett simile is lightning prodded the crags like an old man trying to get an elusive blackberry pip out of his false teeth. I love it. And then we jump into a bunch of dialogue with our favorite witch characters from Terry Pratchett. Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Og, etc., etc. Around a campfire, I presume, making toast. I guess I've never thought to make toast over a campfire, but I suppose that's something you could do. Yeah, Raffi, the back and forth dialogue is very good. I like it. Terry Pratchett is playing with the idea of like the dramatic voice on the wind echoing through the storm, and then the other character's just like, why are you shouting? Why are you being so extra right now? What is Masquerade about by Terry Pratchett? Because I'm not aware of this one. Having read that opening, I definitely haven't read that book. The Opera House in Ankh-Morpork is home to music, theatrics, and a harmless masked ghost. But the seemingly benign spirit may be a psychopathic phantom responsible for a series of bizarre backstage deaths. Alright, it's like murder mystery vibes at the theater. Now, the operatic debut of a country girl from Lancre named Perdita X, the stage name of Agnes Nitt, is in jeopardy. The problem is Agnes doesn't quite look the part of an opera star, and there are two witches who want her to return to join their coven. Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Og are determined to convince Agnes that life as a witch is more rewarding than the stage, especially since she's expected to hide in the chorus and sing arias while a more petitely presentable soprano mouths the notes. Only now they're caught up in a murder mystery featuring masks and maniacal laughter. Yet no phantasmagoric fiend is going to run off a pair of rural hags after they've seen Ankh-Morpork. After all, the show must go on. Okay. I dig it. Thank you for recommending that one, Raffi. A very, very Pratchett opening. I can imagine it only gets better from there. Period, you said Darth Plagueis? Is that the name of the book? I know it's a popular character. But you got by James Luceno in there, so that'll probably bring it up. That Other Pond, of course, the Trader Baru Cormorant, a classic. By Seth Dickinson. Added, thank you very much. Alright, let's keep going through these because we got a big list here. I appreciate everybody suggesting titles. Jake Hartman over on YT, you said if you have room, Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. Alright, I'll throw it on there. I think we're getting to the point where I won't be able to hit all these titles, but we will give it a shot. Also, hello, Jake. Good morning to you, my friend. Alright, so next we are going to go for, I was wondering if this was a horror novel, Season of the Harvest. I've not heard of this, but it's a vaguely ominous title by Michael Hicks. Like a nuclear radiation, atomic symbol on there. A little bit worrying. Thank you. What was that? Thank you for the Gimme the Mic by Period. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much. Alright, let's grab this cover image here so y'all can appreciate it. Very, very impactful, I suppose. Is there even, like, there's a little bit of detailing. It probably won't come through in the stream. There's a little bit of detailing up here on the top behind the font that almost looks like a virus, like blood cells or something. I don't know if, or it could be like sunflowers. I'm not entirely sure. Ominous though. Simple cover, but I like it. Phoenix, you're being too kind, my friend. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you. All right, we'll skip past the forward on this one. Prologue. All right, so we got a rule. We start with prologues if it has a prologue. The author chose that to be the first, part of the story you interact with. So there we go. Millie, what's up? Welcome in. Let's start with the prologue of Season of the Harvest by Michael Hicks. Sheldon Crane ran for his life. Panting from exhaustion and the agony of the deep stab wound in his side, he darted into the deep shadows of an alcove in the underground service tunnel. Holding his pistol in unsteady hands, he peered around the corner, past the condensation-covered pipes, looking back in the direction from which he'd come. Nothing. All he could hear was the deep hum of the electric service box that filled most of the alcove, punctuated by the drip, drip, drip of water from a small leak in one of the water pipes a few yards down the tunnel. Only a third of the ceiling-mounted fluorescent lights were lit, a cost-saving measure by the university that left long stretches of paralyzing darkness between the islands of greenish-tinged light. He could smell wet concrete and the tang of ozone, along with a faint trace of lubricating oil. And over it all was the scent of blood. In the pools of light stretching back down the tunnel, all the way back to the intersection where he had turned into this part of the underground labyrinth, he could see the glint of blood on the floor, a trail his pursuer could easily follow. He knew that no one could save him. He had come here tonight precisely because he had expected the building to be empty. It had been. Almost. But there was no one to hear his shouts for help, and he had dropped his cell phone during the unexpected confrontation in the lab upstairs. He was totally on his own. Okay, I think we can call it there. That's a good stretch to the start. Getting very much action thriller vibes from it. 1000, you can change your book title. Just let me know what it is, and I will. And let me know what your original one was. Was it Dune? I'm not sure. Let me know what your original was and your new one, and I'll swap it on the list. Corey D, you said, what makes a great opening? Well, let's talk about it. I will do that on this stream today. Basically, what makes a good opening, I think you should immediately engage the reader with a hook. You want the reader to ask a question. Azazel, yep, you can change your title too. Just let me know the old one and the new one. A great opening is going to hook the reader by making them ask themselves a question. For instance, in the opening we just read, the opening line is, Sheldon Crane ran for his life. That line makes you go, why? Why is he running for his life? What's going on? That's a pretty good hook. But it builds more from that. Panting from exhaustion and the agony of the deep stab wound in his side, he darted into the deep shadows of an alcove. You're like, why has he been stabbed? What's going on? Why is he running for his life? These are all questions that you ask, and that's step one in a good opening. You need to hook the reader with something. This is giving me like thriller vibes, essentially. Thriller kind of high speed, page turner vibes, and those tend to open with a lot of questions, a lot of simple sentences up front. It's setting a good scene here. Ominous, dramatic. I dig it. I think this is a solid opening. It's not the strongest ever, but it's solid. So let's see. If you've enjoyed stories by James Rollin, Michael Crichton, and Douglas Preston, and Lincoln Child, get ready to strap yourself in for a roller coaster ride of terror as you learn that you are truly what you eat. Oh, interesting. That's not a direction I expected it to go. At the genetics lab where a revolutionary strain of wonder food crops is being developed, FBI Special Agent Jack Dawson's best friend and fellow agent, Sheldon Crane, is brutally murdered. Ah, I see he doesn't make it out of the prologue. The killer was looking for very special seeds that Jack's friend had taken from the lab and tore his body apart trying to find them. Oh my god. Interesting. Okay, so that's a different direction than I expected it. This is more of like a tech thriller. I was expecting, I guess that makes sense. All right, cool. I do like a Michael Crichton-esque thriller, a tech thriller. Those are fun. I feel like they're relatively rare these days. But I dig it. Thank you for recommending that one, whoever that was. It's good. We haven't had a lot of tech thrillers on here. 1009. All right, we got your book title changed. So yours was Picking Daisies on Sunday, and you want to swap that out for Once Upon a Broken Heart. You got it, my friend. There we go. It has been done. Well, thank you for recommending it, Nix. I'll have to keep that on my radar. I am interested in tech thrillers. I'm always a fan of those. Michael Crichton, particularly. I love a good Michael Crichton book. I was getting kind of Dan Brown vibes almost from that one. Not in the content of the story, but the writing style, and that's never a bad thing. Dan Brown has sold a fair few books in his day. Oh, real quick, we did Masquerade so far by Terry Pratchett. I forgot I got to keep these titles because I post them on Discord afterward now. And then we did The Season of the Harvest. Okay, got them. Now we are going to do The Monsters I Called, another book I've not heard of, so I appreciate that. I appreciate getting new ones. So I'm assuming it's this one right here. That is a creepy looking cover. that child slash monster face in the background. Oh, Azazel, you wanted to change it? All right, tell me what your replacement is, and I'll put it in there. Millie, I'm sorry, did you sit one? You said you have a book called The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Okay, we can put it on the list. Thank you very much, Millie. Azazel, The Court of Darkness, you want to change it to. Okay, cool. Alright. I'm getting romantasy vibes from the title and the cover. Am I correct on that? I feel like that'd be a fun thing to do. Should I start predicting the genre of the book beforehand? A little experiment in covers and expectations. Oh, interesting. This is a book too. Did you want book 1 in the series? Maybe is that why it looks different? From Victor Dixon? Oh, so this is not it then. The Monsters Called to the Court. Dean, I got yours on the list here. It is Thalamus by Ursula Potsnatsky. P-O-T-Z-Nasky. All right. Azazel, you said it's by Victor Dixon, so let's see if we can find that. Ah, is this the one you're looking for here? Come on, show me the title. Yeah, by Victor Dixon. There we go. Okay, very good. Too popular of a title, huh? All right, so this one, I'm obviously getting horror / vampire vibes from it. Corey, we can definitely do Dark Tower Book 1. We've done that before, but always happy to do it again. After if there's been at least one stream between them, which there has. All right, so The Court of Shadows. Let me change the title over here so I have it for later. By Victor Dixon. I do like vampire stuff, y'all. Oh, it's translated. Interesting. All right, let's find the start of the prose. Oh, I got a map. Always love a map of Europe. Okay. Historical Europe, I suppose. Don't know what time period, but... Oh, Anno 299. Wow, okay, so we're going back. Do we do the preamble? I don't think so. Let's get to text. Prose. Interesting. There we go. I don't know what all those were. Raymond D. Montefalcon, director of the Grand... It's like characters, almost. Interesting. Oh, boy. Looking at the amount of French names in here, y'all. We about to butcher some names, and I apologize. French and I do not get on. All right. Let's do chapter 1 of The Court of Shadows by Victor Dixon. Translated. In the name of the king, open immediately, a thunderous voice orders. Oh, second person POV. We don't see that too often. My parents, or not second person. I guess it's active, or what is it? Present tense. That's what I mean to say. My parents exchange a panicked glance. We've just sat down to eat at the dining table, all five of us. My oldest brother, Valeri? I'm gonna go with Valeri. Freezes. The second one, Bastien, drops his spoon to the floor. I grab the spoon since I'm always picking up after Bastien, even if I'm the youngest. Who can that possibly be at this hour, and on a Sunday, no less? Maman asks. She looks at the old clock that shows it's barely past 7 in the evening. The clock stands next to an almanac affixed to the wall, open to today's date, August 31st, in the year 299 of the Age of Shadows. By way of response, a fist hammers the front door, making the steaming pheasant soup shake in our bowls. My heart trembles even harder. In the name of the king, the nighttime visitor announced. He could just as easily have said, in the name of the devil himself. Oh, that's a good line. I'm a fan of that. I eye the framed engraving of Louis the Immutable that hangs above our fireplace, same as it does in all the hearths of France. The sovereign's long curls lost their brown coloring long ago, or more likely, the paper itself faded over the years, since the engraving was printed ages before I was born. The king's face, however, hasn't acquired a single wrinkle, and for good reason. It's hidden behind a smooth gold mask that doesn't betray age or display any expression. Only two dark eyes emerge, eyes that callously scrutinize every person in the kingdom. The metal lips, closed and enigmatic, are far more chilling than if they revealed the sharp canines hidden beneath. Okay, this is sick, y'all. I really like this opening. This is pretty cool. I think I'm kind of getting where it's going. Oh, and period, thank you for the cap. I missed that while I was reading. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. This is pretty sick. So it seems like the world building here is like, with a king named Louis the Immutable, and he seems ageless and wears a golden mask that doesn't betray his features. That's pretty cool, man. So we're getting like an alternate history Europe here, with a vampire king of France, I'm assuming. That's pretty sick. So let's see. Let's look at these opening lines instead of just the story itself. In the name of the king, open immediately, a thunderous voice orders. Fair enough as an opening line. Not the most eye-catching in my opinion, but it works. I like the visual of the family freezing. It makes me think that they have no idea why someone would come to them at this time of night with an order. And on a Sunday, no less. I think I missed that last time. That's a funny inclusion. Okay, so I think that the way this starts, it's very good. But where it really picked up, for me at least, what really got Hellfire Horus Rising, we can add that to the list for sure. We are getting to the point where it's long enough we might not make it to all these today, but thank you for suggesting them. Mare Bear, you can still put one on there. We'll see if we can get to it. Where this real opening really worked for me was when it started to describe the king, the portrait of him above the fireplace. Particularly as a fan of history, I loved when it gave us his name, Louis the Immutable, because I was like, oh, I don't think that's definitely not a real king, right? That's a cool title, a cool change of like, kings and queens, royalty would get some sort of title like that, but the Immutable is a very ominous title, especially considering the context. And then there's just the description of that portrait of him, the likeness above the hearth was very cool. I dig it. It's a good opening. I really like those visuals. I think that's really strong. For me, at least, and art and stories are subjective, that's where this came into its own, and that was pretty sick. Very cool. I like it. That's a fun one. Louis XIV transformed from the Sun King into the King of Shadows when he embraced immortality and became the world's first vampire. For the last 3 centuries, he's been ruling the kingdom from the decadent Court of Shadows in Versailles, demanding the blood of his subjects to sate his nobles' thirst and maintain their loyalty. That's a cool setup. That's a cool setup. I like this. That sounds like a really fun world. Shout out to you, Victor Dixon. I dig it. Kooky, welcome back. Good to see ya. Thank you for being here. Hope you're doing well. It has been a minute, but I'm glad to see you back. I hope you've been thriving in the absence. Glad to have you back. Oh, you're right, Jack Ann. That's a good point. It says a lot about the world of the story. There's a portrait of him above the mantle, right? Almost like it was, it has to be put there, right? Grim, you asked if my wrist is okay. You're kind. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's fine. I am being preventative with it. It's a repetitive stress injury from writing so much. Yes, Mayor Bear. Tinder is the flesh has been added. I'll pull up the next one here. While I just say, I've been doing a bit of a writing experiment. I wanted to push myself and see how far and how fast I could write. Jack Ann, I did not write 10,000 this past weekend. I wrote 40,000 this past weekend. Hence why my hand is in a brace any moment that I'm not writing right now. I am attempting to write the most words that I can in a 12-day period, and it's going well. It's going well. I'm very excited to rest on the other end of it, but we're at 62,000 words written since last Thursday. Which is pretty nice, and it's feeling good too. So I'm very happy with it. Not something I'll do on the regular, but it's been a while since I've really pushed myself to the limit, so I just kind of wanted to see what we could do. Flabbergasted. I appreciate it. It's fun. It's a fun experiment. It's not my preferred way of writing. It's fun to do once in a while. Like once every year, I like to see, how far can I push myself? Hey, Corey, you got 1,000 this weekend. You wrote 1,000 and got a celebration coffee. Good for you. There ain't nothing wrong with that. It's all a personal race. The comparison is not helpful. It is we are all racing ourselves. And honestly, 2,000 a day is a good pace for me. That's where I really prefer to be. So this is a very much a one-off thing. We're just having fun with it. Sung Moon, I saw that comment scroll by real quick. You said, may I ask what you thought of the F1 race this weekend? I had a darn good time. I hope you did. That was a fun race. Dutch GP delivered. I feel terrible for Lando, obviously, and Leclerc and Hamilton, but I'm so happy for Hadjar. Good job for him, man. That was awesome. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Nix, you said I'm barely at 2,000. Most of it's just plot ideas. Hey, 2,000 more than you had, right? It's a place to start. That's why I don't like to jump into like word totals too often, because it's all an individual race. It's all about what you're doing, not what other people are doing. I've been writing full time for 7 years. That's why I can do this, but I still don't prefer to do it. It's not the best way to write. It's just an experiment for me, really. All right, let's do the next book. The Summer I Turned Pretty by Ginny. I believe that's Han. It's written in cursive. I'm not good at cursive. I think that's Han. I don't know anything about it. I feel like it's probably like a YA coming of age type deal. That's my guess at least, from the cover and from the title and from knowing that it's a I guess Amazon series. I thought it was Netflix, but they made it into a series. So hey, that's a good sign for it. Yes, Mayor Bear, I believe so. It said something about that book. I can't read it because it's a little blurry, but I can read To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So I'm assuming that's saying, written by the same author or something. So yeah, I think so. 46, good morning. Good to have you. Dean Winchester, your TikTok crashed. Well, thank you for coming back. I appreciate you. And Jake Hartman over on YT, you said as long as the 40K words aren't all work and not play, make Jack a dull boy, I think we'll be okay. That's actually what I've been writing nonstop. Millie, it's clearly Zoe. That is the correct decision. I'm glad we agree on this very important matter. All right, on to the opening of this book. Okay, I love the first line already. We'd been driving for about 7,000 years. Or at least that's how it felt. My brother, Steven, drove slower than our Grana. I sat next to him in the passenger seat with my feet up on the dashboard. Meanwhile, my mother was passed out in the back seat. Even when she slept, she looked alert, like at any second she could wake up and direct traffic. Go faster, I urged Steven, poking him in the shoulder. Let's pass that kid on the bike. Steven shrugged me off. Never touch the driver, he said, and take your dirty feet off my dashboard. I wiggled my toes back and forth. They looked pretty clean to me. It's not your dashboard. It's going to be my car soon, you know. If you ever get your license, he scoffed. People like you shouldn't even be allowed to drive. Good sibling dialogue back and forth. Hey, look, I said, pointing out the window. That guy in the wheelchair just lapped us. That's pretty funny. Steven ignored me, and so I started to fiddle with the radio. One of my favorite things about going to the beach was the radio stations. I was as familiar with them as I was with the ones back home, and listening to Q94 made me just really know inside that I was there, at the beach. I found my favorite station, the one that played everything from pop to oldies to hip-hop. Tom Petty was singing Free Fallin'. I sang right along with him. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis, loves horses and her boyfriend too. Lyrics. Steven reached over to switch stations and I slapped his hand away. Belly, your voice makes me want to run this car into the ocean. He pretended to swerve right. Okay, here's our opening lines. Yeah, Jack Ann, Grana, Granna, it said. So some their personal abbreviation of grandma, I would assume. And Hellfire, you asked what genre do I write? I write fantasy and lit RPG. I can flash the books real quick before we talk about this one we just read. But here are the books that I have written. They are on Amazon. They are in the links in my bio. Feel free to check them out if you want. It's fantasy up top, lit RPG down below. Okay, back to this. All right, so I made a few comments as I read through it. A few things that stood out to me right away. One, the opening line is funny. That always wins points with me. Again, art is subjective, but you made me laugh in the first line. That's always a strong opening. We'd been driving for about 7,000 years. It's obvious hyperbole, but it's funny, and it conveys the attitude of the main character pretty well. I like that. I feel like I learned a fair bit about the main character just from that one line. Nice vibes. I'm getting like I don't know what time period this is in, but between the radio, memorizing the radio stations and going to the beach, I'm getting like summer's like 90 vibes almost. I don't know if that's accurate. That could be my own creation, but it's fun. I liked that vibe. The sibling dialogue back and forth is very appropriate. I feel like the author actually has siblings. As an only child, that is challenging for me to write accurately. Maybe they're just really convincing, but it feels to me like they know a thing or two about sibling bickering. And again, made me laugh 2 more times with complaining about going so slow the person in the wheelchair lapped them. And, hey, speed up so we can pass the guy on the bike. That's pretty funny. Other than that, though, pretty neutral opening. Look, you made me laugh. You said a good scene. I think the main thing that I'm missing here is I really want a stronger hook, personally. I'm not asking myself many questions about the book. And I kind of want to have an internal question that's like forcing me to read along. I want that hook. That being said, some books carry themselves on dialogue, and the dialogue here was very good. So that works. Or maybe if you're just a Tom Petty fan, you keep reading because we got some Tom Petty lyrics slipped in there, huh? In Sarge, welcome in. Good to see you. Jack Ann, you said dialogue/character heavy, no questions, but I feel immersed. Yeah, okay, pretty much kind of what I was saying, of like, no real strong hooks there, at least not question-based hooks, but definitely good dialogue, getting a good, description of the characters, a feel for the characters, which is important. I feel like there was a question that I saw that I wanted to answer. Oh, no, there it is. Nick, she said, I've always avoided using lyrics from real songs because I'm worried about the legalities. Yeah, it is a sticky issue. I've looked into it in the past and just come to the conclusion of like it's not worth the effort of it. There are legalities involved in it, and it's been a long time since I looked at it. I write fantasy primarily. There's not a lot of modern song lyrics in that, so it hasn't been an issue I've had to deal with. Thank you for suggesting that one, though. That was interesting. It definitely, I agree, Sloyd. It's trying to hook you with vibe and mood. And and I feel that. I feel that. GIJ Spot, welcome in. You said, how do suggestions work? Yeah, just put it in chat, basically, book title and author. I will add it to the list, and we're moving through it. We got a long one today. I think we probably won't get to them all at this point, but if I don't get to them today, I leave them on my list, and on the next book's opening line stream, they'll have priority. If you come back and say them again, I'll make sure that they get read on that stream. Well, Lansu, that's not a nice thing to say. Period. I stream for about an hour to an hour 30 each day, so I got another 20 minutes at least here today. We'll probably go a bit longer than that, though, because I'd like to get through a lot of these books. So let's move on to the next one here. Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm not aware of this one either. I appreciate y'all giving me titles I've never heard of. You know, sometimes it's all like, you know, Murderbot Diaries, The Martian, big books, you know, which is fine. But it's cool to find stuff that I haven't heard of. Not that these aren't big books. It's got 30,000 reviews, which, hey, a little bit of insight for you. If on average, at least in my genre, in fantasy and lit RPG, your reviews to buys ratio is about 1 to 10. So for every 10 purchases, you would get 1 review on average. So a book sitting at 30,000 reviews has sold pretty good. It's doing all right. Period. Yeah. Darth Plagueis is a little down the list, but I don't strictly go in order. So I think we'll be able to get to it. It was recommended early enough on. We shouldn't have any problem with it. Oh, yeah, J-Spot. I need to watch the series. The Murderbot series, because the book itself is incredible. It's just really good. It's so funny. The opening lines of Murderbot, of All Systems Red, the first one, so good every time. I love when we do it on stream. That Other Pond, you said I was surprised to hear that you knew Baru Cormorant. Oh, it's a pretty successful fantasy book. Maybe it's just because I'm in the fantasy genre, but let me see. You know, I just gave out that ratings to buy ratio. Let's take a look at what it's got. Oh, I thought it would come up with that. Oh, it helps to click into the box you're trying to type in. Oh, okay. I guess it's a little bit. It's not quite as big as I thought it was, with only 2.8K ratings. Don't get me wrong. Very good number of ratings. But I thought it was a more widely known book than that. Perhaps it just has a very standout title. Sticks in my head for sure. Alrighty. Fat Frog, you said this is quite a popular book on Book Talk? Okay. Okay. Well, that also would explain why I haven't heard of it. That's not quite my genre, but I love this cover. That's really cool. I guess I didn't see... It's a higher detail here in the preview than it was here. So here I didn't notice the details, but in the preview, oh, it's different too. Look, see, it's white text here. And then in the book preview... on Amazon, the preview feature, it's like a beautiful green, almost like a wicked green font. That's cool, man. I really like that. Also, the, like, I don't know what to call this, but it's like the pattern that you would see in, like, on, you know, the plaster fireplace of, like, an 1800s mansion, essentially. I'm sure there's a name for that art style. I'm not aware of what it is. Filigree. Thank you, Alicia. Look at you. There we go. The filigree is beautiful, and it's blended into, like, a galaxy or something. That's really cool looking. Props to the cover artist, huh? Alright. Oh, that's an interesting map. Very interesting. Different perspective than you'd expect. Alright. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Chapter 1. Warnings and Signs. The bell hanging outside the curiosity shop knew the human was trouble from the way he moved through the door. Okay. Gotta say, y'all, right off the bat. I always got to stop whenever it's a really powerful opening. That made me ask questions right off the bat. That's getting those hooks in there, right? The bell knew the human was trouble. This is a sentient bell. Interesting. The bell hanging outside the curiosity shop knew the human was trouble from the way he moved through the door. Bells have excellent hearing, but this little chime didn't need any particular skill to catch the crude jangle of the gaudy pocket watch chain at this young man's hip, or the rough scrape of his boots as he attempted a swagger, but only succeeded in scuffing the floor of Maximilian's Curiosities, Whimsies, and Other Oddities. It's a fun shop name. This young man was going to ruin the girl that worked inside the shop. The bell had tried to warn her. A full 2 seconds before the boy opened the door, the bell rang its clapper. Unlike most humans, this shop girl had grown up around oddities, and the bell had long suspected she was a curiosity as well, though it couldn't figure out exactly what sort. The girl knew that many objects were more than they appeared, and that bells possessed a sixth sense that humans lacked. Unfortunately, this girl, who believed in hope and fairy tales and love at first sight, often misinterpreted the bell's chimes. Today the bell was fairly certain that she had heard its cautionary ring, but from the way her voice affected an excited edge as she spoke to the young man, it seemed as if the girl had taken the bell's early toll as a serendipitous sign instead of a warning. How interesting. That was almost like a prologue, honestly. Oh, that's so cool. And the next chapter starts with a little excerpt from like a newspaper. That's fun, y'all. That's very cool. Hey, Titan Terra, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Happy Wednesday to you. Fattest Kid 100 says, please say happy birthday to my 6-year-old brother Tanzel. Well, happy birthday. Hope it's a very good day for you. Warnings and signs. All right, so this is so interesting, y'all. What a bold choice to open a book from the perspective of a bell. I'm still not even sure. I mean, it would appear the bell is sentient. I'm not sure, though, the characters realize that. But it makes me ask so many questions about this world, right? This is what I'm saying about hooks. I'm utterly fascinated. I'm literally having trouble getting over what's going on with that. I'm asking so many questions about it right off the bat. I like that. That's what I want to read more to get answers. You know, a little bit of like a narrator's type voice from the opening, of basically like summarizing like, hey, these two characters are going to interact in a certain way. Let me give you a little preview of it now, of what's to come. I think a fun thing about openings like this, though, is you kind of give away the story a little bit. You know, the most interesting part of it with an opening like this, but the beauty of it comes from we read this and we go, yeah, this guy's bad news for, I'm assuming, is the main character. But then you read on to chapter 1, then chapter 2, and chapter 3, and the further you go, the more you start to forget that prologue and what it predicted until it comes back and becomes relevant in the story. So I always love that interaction of when a story, tells you what's going to happen before it happens. Jack Anderson, you think it speaks to the classic fairy tale vibe? Yes, that's actually a really good point. Good analysis. Kind of continues the fairy tale feel of it. Also, which we kind of got that with the map here. It has big time fairy tale vibes. And even the name of the shop, Maximilian's Curiosities, Whimsies, and Other Oddities. I dig it. 1009, can I do the UK cover? We can try. It'll probably come up. I'm assuming this is it. It's obviously a very different cover. It's not a very good look at it. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like the suit of armor, one having a helmet and one missing it. That's kind of cool. I gotta say though, y'all, I still like. I've lost it now. I clicked out of it. I still like this cover more. But fun. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was a really interesting one to read through. I really liked that opening. I can safely say that is the first time that I have read a opening from the perspective of a sentient bell and been very intrigued. All right, Millie Pumpkin Spice is the one after this next one, based on the list. So coming up next, we have... I didn't even know this was a book. Darth Plagueis the Wise, like the Star Wars plot point / meme. I didn't realize that was straight up the title of it, though. Rock on. Let's do this one. Time to get our Star Wars lore on, huh? Never a bad day when that's going to happen. I dig the cover. Very cool looking. Honestly, even more than the art of this cover, what I really like is the color choices. That gold, black, and red just looks good. That's cool, man. It's also got like... it has... Art Deco is not the word for it, but it has an architectural feel to this cover that puts me into the mind of the Empire's like architecture choices. That's pretty cool. I think that's really, really good art that's going to do that. Alrighty. I've never read a Star Wars book. I really would like to and probably should do it because I'm sure I'd have an absolute blast of a time. I know there's a lot of good stuff out there. Oh, interesting, Leisha. You said this should be... He would be High Republic? Interesting. So is that subtle, or am I just reading into it with that art choice? Either way, Darth Plagueis by James Luceno. Prologue. A tremor took hold of the planet. Sprung from death, it unleashed itself in a powerful wave, at once burrowing deep into the world's core and radiating through its saturine atmosphere to shake the stars themselves. Whew! There's a description. Sprung from death, it unleashed itself in a powerful wave, at once burrowing deep into the world's core and radiating through its saturine atmosphere to shake the stars themselves. At the quake's epicenter stood Sidious, one elegant hand vised on the burnished sill of an expansive translucency. A vessel filled suddenly to bursting. Okay, there's a lot of words in there that are throwing me off. At the quake's epicenter stood Sidious, one elegant hand vised on the burnished sill of an expansive translucency. A vessel filled suddenly to bursting, the force so strong within him that he feared he might disappear in it, never to return. But the moment didn't constitute an ending so much as a true beginning, long overdue. It was less a transformation than an intensification, a gravitic shift. Whew! The language in this, man. This is gonna make me bust out my thesaurus on this bad boy. A welter of voices, near and far, present and from eons past, drowned his thoughts. Raised in praise, the voices proclaimed his reign and cheered the inauguration of a new order. Yellow eyes lifted to the night sky. He saw the trembling stars flare, and in the depth of his being he felt the power of the dark side anoint him. Slowly, almost reluctantly, he came back to himself, his gaze settling on his manicured hands. Returned to the present, he took note of his rapid breathing, while behind him the room labored to restore order. Air scrubbers hummed, costly wall tapestries undulating in the summoned breeze. Prized carpets sealed their fibers against the spread of spilled fluids. The droid shuffled in obvious confliction. Sidious pivoted to take in the disarray. Antique furniture overturned, framed artwork askew, as if a whirlwind had swept through, and face down on the floor lay a statue of Yan Zhan, one of 4 law-giving sages of Duarte. Sorry, y'all, the font's a little bit small on this one, so I'm struggling to read the tiny font. Interesting, though. I think there's a lot to talk about just in that opening. That's a fun opening. I really like the opening visual. The whatever is happening to the planet is very cool, but to build it up so dramatically and then say that this main character stood at the center of it implies he is the source of it, and that's really cool. You know, that gives you this huge zoom out, powerful effect, and then brings it right back into this one character and focuses on him. So that's pretty sick. I'm interested in the word choice here. There's a lot of really big vocabulary, not big, strange vocabulary words, I would say, which isn't a bad thing by any means, but when used in close proximity can trip people up, as you saw for me, though I'd say most of it was the small font and my bad eyesight. But look at these words here. I appreciate the author at least using them. Were I reading on my own, I would have looked up half of these just to make sure I was spot on with what they meant. Saturine is a color, I believe. And I'm not good at colors. Like, I don't know, man. I'm like, it's orange. There it is. Well, yeah, I want the color, not the artificial sweetener. Oh, interesting. Excessively sweet or sentimental? Interesting. I thought it was a color. Yes, another one was gravitic, Jack Ann. Having to do with gravity. I also liked translucency. That's an interesting, I don't know, tense to use that in. Okay, I think that's the real big ones there. But you put it all together, you got some fun language. Which, you know what? I'm sure the author's doing that on purpose. Speaking about it from an analytical perspective, this is a grand moment the author is portraying here. So it makes sense it should have grand language around it, right? It builds the aura of the moment, you could say. Jack Ann, you're big on word choice. So this is right up your alley? Well, I can see so. I dig it. That's a fun opening. I would definitely want to read more. So there's different types of openings, right? I prefer openings that hook you based on plot or humor. This one is going for atmosphere and a little bit of plot. I kind of want to know what's going on with Sidious, obviously an infamous name in Star Wars lore. But just the aura of this moment is pretty awesome. So I dig it. I like it. Rock on, James Luceno. Good book. Or good opening, I guess. Oh, Millie, I do play hockey, actually. But nope, the hand is not a hockey injury. The hand is a writing injury. I have written too many words. I'm doing an experiment to see how fast I can write a book, just for my own, not even a deadline, just my own knowledge. I just like to push myself once in a while. So I have written 60,000 words since last Thursday. Yeah, you get repetitive strain injuries, repetitive use injuries from that. So I'm keeping my hand in a brace until when I'm not writing, because I'm almost done with this book and I need to finish out strong. It's been a fun experiment, but I wouldn't recommend it. I can't wait. I'm very excited to go back to writing at my normal pace, because that is just honestly silly. That other Pond, what position do you play? I'm relatively new to hockey, but really enjoy defense. Hey, good choice, Pond. I started at center. I still enjoy playing center, but I'm one of the veterans in my league now. So veterans typically, the more knowledgeable players typically play on defense at the lower levels. So I've been put on defense, and you know what? I really enjoy it. Defense is quite lovely. Glad to meet a fellow hockey player, my friend, and a defense enjoyer. I'll be good, Joe. I appreciate your concern. It is really a preventative measure on the wrist. I can feel it beginning to ache, so it's very much. If I wear the brace when I'm not writing, it'll make it better. And then the best way is just finish the book and stop writing for a couple days, and it'll go away. I have been here with this feeling before. Okay, Amazon was doing this earlier, where it's not letting me right click and open the cover in another image, so we're just gonna have to do it through the sample. I don't know why some books are doing that, but let's grab this cover. There it is, a little bit small. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. I saw in the description it said something about TikTok sensation. Um, I'm thinking probably like cozy romance, maybe. Titan Terror, you've had to brace your hand for similar reasons. Sorry about that. It's no fun, right? But it goes away pretty quickly. Alicia, you asked, is that a ghostwritten book for Gilmore Girls? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not familiar with either. Oh, it's got a playlist suggestion in the front. How interesting. Now, I've never seen that before. All right, I can already tell you I need to make this font bigger. Can we do it? Yeah, see, it doesn't change anything, though, in this preview. I don't know why. It's something about when I stream it. All right, well, anyway, a playlist in the front. How cool. I've never seen that before. I would for sure put this on while reading this. All right, Chapter 1. Jeannie Ellis had never killed a man before, but tonight might be the night. Good opening. Desperate times and all. She clutched the baseball bat tighter in her fist and crept down the rickety back staircase. She hadn't slept in 3 nights. Not since moving into the apartment above her aunt's cafe. Well, her cafe, technically. Jeannie was officially the new owner of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Her Aunt Dot's pride and joy until exactly 2 weeks ago, when the older woman announced she was retiring and taking off for the Caribbean for a few weeks to work on her tan. Apparently, Dot could think of no one better to take over her beloved cafe than her favorite, and only, as Jeannie pointed out, niece. An idea that now seemed completely absurd as Jeannie tiptoed off the last step prepared for battle. Every night she'd heard strange noises, scritchy, scratchy type noises with the occasional clangy, bangy type noise. At first she'd tried to chalk it up to the wind, or maybe an animal scurrying through the back alley. She absolutely refused to let her mind take off down a path to the worst-case scenario, like she usually did. She would not allow herself to imagine an escaped serial killer creeping up her back steps. That banging was definitely not an armed robber here to take the meager change her aunt kept in the cash register. Jeannie was starting fresh. Jeannie was a new woman. The quaint seaside town of Dream Harbor and its inhabitants knew nothing about her, and she planned to take full advantage of that. Okay. I do enjoy this writing. Very easy to read. Very fun. I love the language choice. Oh, gotta do a capture real quick for TikTok. Done. I'm still here, TikTok. You didn't get me. You snuck it in when I was reading, but that's all right. We got there. Okay, so a lot of good things just in those few opening paragraphs. One, I just love the opening sentence. Jeannie Ellis had never killed a man before, but tonight might be the night. That's a fun one. That immediately gives me a little bit of a description of the character. I kind of knew a bit of what to expect going from that. It also immediately let me assume pretty safely what was going on. And then there was another one that really stood out. Oh, there we go. Dot could think of no one better to take over her beloved cafe than her favorite, and only, as Jeannie often pointed out, niece. Again, just good. It shows me what to expect from the main character. It's a little bit of their voice, their personality coming through in prose. I like it. That's fun. And then also, I love this so much when the prose is in the character's head, and contradicts what's actually happening. So she's like, I'm not going to allow myself to imagine an escaped serial killer creeping up the back steps. That banging was definitely not an armed robber. I was starting fresh. I was a new woman. Like, it's saying all of that, but you can tell that she's actually doing the opposite, and I love that. The narrator is lying to herself and to us, but it's obvious to both of us. I think that's really fun. That's a cool little design. Jack Ann, you said that almost feels misleading, though. I think about the opening line. I don't think this character actually would do that. No, I don't think she would actually do that. I think it's hyperbole, particularly when you pair it with desperate times and all that. When I read that, Jeannie Ellis had never killed a man before, but tonight might be the night. The first half of that sentence, I was thinking, okay, this is a dramatic opening, like something serious is happening. But the back half with "but tonight might be the night" made me go, oh, that sounds like she's fed up with somebody she knows, or she's saying it in a hyperbolic manner. But that was how I took it, at least. But no, that was a good one. Easy to read. That's always a nice thing. And interesting. Nothing like a good cozy vibes book, right? Especially with fall coming up. I mean, for most of the country, for Houston, we got a while to go. It's not close to fall yet. Don't think about it. Okay. Yo, we did a good job on this list. We're moving pretty good. I think we got time for like 2 more, probably. Let's see. I thought this was an interesting suggestion, so I'm going to pull out this one. The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. I don't even remember what the opening of the Divine Comedy is like, y'all. That's going to be interesting. It's just so long since I've read this. Alright, the Inferno. It's where it starts. Ugh, gruesome imagery on it. Yo, the backstory about why this book was written is very funny. I'm not going to do a bad job of summarizing it, so just look it up, but it's pretty funny. Involving exile and revenge, essentially, but in the most petty of ways. Oh, contents, how to read Dante right off the bat. I probably need that, but it'll be more fun if we skip right through it, right? So we're just going to jump right on in here. Oh, this is literally a scanned PDF of the book. That's pretty funny. It's not even a digital edition. Alright, here we go. We're getting there. Okay, nope, sorry, we have the introduction. Let's get through that. I want to get to the prose. Now, you have to consider, when reading something really old like this, that it was very different times for publishing and for writing. So, things are different back then. And it's always interesting to analyze and compare to today's opening lines and what works, in 2025. Because what works in 2025 might not be what worked in 2018. Definitely not 2012, etc. It advances very quickly, but the further back you go, the slower the changes happen. But Inferno is far enough back. We've had significant changes in writing style since then, obviously. Okay, this is very small font, so don't mind me as I squint and lean forward to read this one. But Canto 1 of the Inferno. The Dark Wood of Error. Midway in his allotted 70 years and 10, Dante comes to himself with a start and realizes that he has strayed from the true way into the dark wood of error, parentheses, worldliness. As soon as he has realized his loss, Dante lifts his eyes and sees the first light of the sunrise. The sun is the symbol of divine illumination, lighting the shoulders of a little hill, the Mount of Joy. It is the Easter season, the time of resurrection, and the sun in its equinoctial rebirth. This juxtaposition of joyous symbols fills Dante with hope, and he sets out at once to climb directly up the Mount of Joy. But almost immediately his way is blocked by the 3 beasts of worldliness, the leopard of malice and fraud, the lion of violence and ambition, and the she-wolf of incontinence. These beasts, and especially the she-wolf, drive him back, despairing into the darkness of error. But just as all seems lost, a figure appears to him in the shade. Wait, is this, is this a summary? Yeah. This is like a summary of actually what happened, right? I think what we need to be starting with is this. Yeah. This is like an interpretation. Like I said, it's been a while since I've read this, but that's more modern writing, right? We need to jump down to here. It is an epic poem, so the formatting gives it away. Alicia, the control doesn't work. The control zoom doesn't work on this preview the way I have it set it up. Like, see, I just tried it, and this is what it did. It doesn't make it bigger for some reason. I don't know why. It works when I'm not streaming, which is very unhelpful. Okay, sorry. Starting again. Oh, no, you're good, Alicia. It would be good advice if not for a weird error. All right, here's the actual writing. My apologies for that. Midway in our life's journey, I went astray from the straight road and woke to find myself alone in a dark wood. How shall I say what wood that was? I never saw so drear, so rank, so arduous a wilderness. Its very memory gives a shape to fear. Death could scarce be more bitter than that place, but since it came to good, I will recount all that I found revealed there by God's grace. How I came to it I cannot rightly say, so drugged and loose with sleep had I become when I first wandered there from the true way. But at the far end of that valley of evil, whose maze had sapped my very heart with fear, I found myself before a little hill. It's pretty bold of you to rhyme evil with hill, my guy, but I imagine this was probably translated from its original language. And I lifted up my eyes, its shoulders glowed, already with the sweet rays of that planet whose virtue leads men straight on every road. And the shining strengthened me against the fright, whose agony had racked the lake of my heart, through all the terrors of that piteous night. Just as a swimmer who with his last breath flounders ashore from perilous seas might turn to memorize the wide water of his death, so did I turn, my soul still fugitive, from death's surviving image to stare down that past that none had ever left alive. And there I lay to rest from my heart's race, till calm and breath returned to me, then rose and pushed up that dead slope at such a pace. Each footfall rose above the last, and lo, almost at the beginning of the rise, I faced a spotted leper, all tremor and flow, and gaudy pelt, and it would not pass, but stood, so blocking my every turn that time and again, I was on the verge of turning back to the wood. Okay, there's our first 38 lines or so. Epic poems are interesting, right? It's such an interesting way to read, but if you can get the rhythm going, something I am noticeably bad at, it carries you along, and the language is so much nicer and more interesting and descriptive than this description, or this summary up top. I feel like the summary is to help you interpret it, but I don't know, the original words are really nice. I could, it's been a long time since I've read this, but I could certainly get swept away in it these days. I think I can appreciate the beauty and the art of the language in it a little bit more than when I was younger and read it for school. Not saying I will, but I think I could. This is an interesting one to even analyze because it's so old, but let's take a little shot at it. I guess what stands out to me is the language is just really beautifully descriptive. I particularly loved, where was it? As he climbs up the hill, he stops to look back into the woods that he had come from, and he describes it as just as a swimmer who with his last breath flounders ashore from perilous seas might turn to memorize the wide water of his death. So did I turn, my soul still fugitive, from death's surviving image to stare down that past that none had ever left alive. That was nice imagery. I really liked the idea of like a swimmer just making it out of an ocean that almost drowned him, turning back to look at the water and like look at what you just survived. That's how he's describing coming out of this wood, which I'm assuming is some period in his life. It's a metaphor for. No, that's. I like that a lot more than I did when I was younger and was forced to read it for school. I could certainly see reading this today and enjoying it. Interesting suggestion. I like that. I like when we throw a classic in here once in a while. And this has got to be the most classic we've read, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we've done anything older than this yet. So thank you for a new recommendation. That was fun. All right, y'all, we got time for one more today. So, Lindy, you said it's descriptive but actionable. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good way to put it. Jackie Ann, yeah, please suggest that title on the next Wednesday stream, and we'll make sure we get to it. It's been a while since I've read. We did the opening for Aragon. We haven't done the opening for Eldest, though. All right, one more book. I'm going to pull one more off this list. And y'all, if your book's on this list and we didn't get to it, please suggest it on the next stream, and it will get priority. I think we got to do the Trader Baru Cormorant. I'm being a little biased. I'm a fan of that book, so we're gonna do that. All right. Perhaps a book that is less popular than I thought it was, but it is certainly a book that I enjoy. Oh, man. I like the other cover better. Give me the other one back. Wait, is this? No, that's it. It's just so different. This is the cover that I like, and I can't make it. Amazon's doing a weird thing with some of the books today where it's like, it won't let me pull the cover image up bigger than that. I guess you can kind of see it there. But I love that cover. That's a very simple, good cover. This one, there's nothing wrong with this one. It's just so very different. Alright, let's jump on in here. Chapter 1. Oh, by the Traitor Baru Cormorant by Seth Dickinson, I believe it was. Yes, Seth Dickinson. Other Pond, you like the first cover too? Good taste. Trade season came round again. Baru was still too young to smell the Empire wind. The masquerade sent its favorite soldiers to conquer Taranok. Sailcloth, dyes, glazed ceramic, sealskin and oils, paper currency printed in their foul-crest tongue. Little Baru, playing castles in the hot black sand, liked to watch their traders come into the harbor. She learned to count by tallying the ships and the seabirds that circled them. Nearly 2 decades later, watching fire-beater frigates heel in the aurora light, she would remember those sails on the horizon. But at age 7, the girl Baru Cormorant gave them no weight. She cared mostly for arithmetic and birds and her parents, who could show her the stars. But it was her parents who taught her to be afraid. In the red autumn evening before the stars rose, her father took Baru down to the beach to gather kelp for ash. The ash meant for glass. The glass meant for telescope lenses ground flat by volcanic stone. The lenses meant for the new trade. When they came to the beach, Baru saw masquerade merchant ships on the horizon, making a wary circuit around Halay's reef. "Look, Das," Baru said. "They're coming in for the Irlad market." "I see them," Father Psalm said, shaded his eyes, and watched the ships, peeling lips pressed thin. He had the shoulders of a mountain, and they corded as he moved. "Go fill your bucket." "Watch." Father Solet, keen-eyed, took his husband's hand and pointed. "There's a third ship. They're sailing in convoys now." Baru pretended to dig for kelp and listened. "Pirates make a good excuse for convoy," Psalm said, "and the convoy makes a good excuse for escort." He spat into the surf. Pinion was right. Poison in that treaty. Watching their reflections, Baru saw Solet take Psalm's shoulder, calloused hand pressed against his husband's bare strength. Each man wore his hair braided. Solet's burnt short for the smithy, Psalm's an elaborate waist-length fall, for glory in the killing circle, against the plainsmen. Okay, so, very interesting. A lot of world building done in the opening here. I really like this image. The masquerade sent its favorite soldiers to conquer. Sailcloth, dyes, glazed ceramic, sealskin and oils, paper and currency printed in their fall crest tongue. That's a good metaphor. Their favorite soldiers to conquer with are trade. Enterprise. I also really like the idea of the process of how the telescope glasses are made. More of a world-building thing than anything. And perhaps not the most hook-heavy opening, but again, it's one of those books that's going for feel and tone and world-building to drag you in. It's not kicking off the most hooky, story that's making you ask questions right off the bat. Instead, it's going like, come on, come sit down. Let me tell you a story. Let's hang out for a minute. I'm going to bring you into this rich, deep world, which is a very valid style of opening. It's just a very different style. Where is that passage that I really liked, though? There we go. In the red autumn evening before the stars rose, her fathers took Baru down to the beach to gather kelp for ash. The ash meant for glass. The glass meant for telescope lenses ground flat by volcanic stone. The lenses meant for new trade. Just a cool little look into the process of making that. I appreciate taking a moment to peer into such a component part of, making something, right? ash to glass, glass ground down, glass for telescope lenses. It's interesting. Slindy, you said another more actionable descriptions. Feels like a mixture of actionable and not. Yeah, I can see that. It's a bit of a slower opening, but there's nothing wrong with that at all. Especially because I think if we read further, it's setting up something that's going to pay off later with the appearance of a warship. So it was important to talk about the ships that the main character has seen their whole life and how that's going to change, I imagine. So yeah, fun opening, interesting world. I like it. I know I'm going to get a rich, well thought out world reading on in this, and that in itself is a hook of sorts. Other Pond, you said, I think for a detail of making something right and involving difficult work for a practical item versus luxury items the Empire is bringing in. Oh, now that's interesting, Other Pond. Showing the main character's family is working on making practical, difficult things versus purely luxury items. I can see that. Rock on. I like it. Hey, Cow's Milk, have I read the Red Rising series? I have read book 1 of it back in the day, and it wasn't my favorite back then, but I need to give it a fresh try. I know it's really good. I have a lot of friends that really like it. Obviously, it's very popular, so I need to read it again. I need to give it a second shot. You know, taste changes over time, and when I originally tried it, I was like, I don't know, in my teens. So I'm due for a reread for sure. You're very welcome, Other Pond. Thank you for suggesting it. Y'all, if I did not get to your book, please, next Wednesday on our next stream, suggest it again. I will keep their names here. So if you suggest it again next week, it'll get priority, and we will make sure we get to it. As much as I'd like to get to them all, don't have time for all of them. We'd be here all day, but we got to some good ones. Let's see. Masquerade was a really fun one. I really enjoyed opening with that. But who is my favorite of the day? That's a good question. There were some strong books today. I think it's between Pumpkin Spice Cafe and probably The Court of Shadows, purely from the world building. That one really, as a fan of history, that one really resonated with me. I liked what they were doing with that. Y'all, thank you for hanging out with me today. It's been a fun stream. If you don't know, if you had fun today and you want to hang out outside of stream, this is our Discord. Oh, nope, I put it wrong. This is our Discord link, and we invite you to join us. And there we got a lot of cool folks hanging out with us in there. Over 200 members now. Love to have you there. And one of the positives of it is all of the books that we read today, I will post them in there. Sort of living library. Oh, it didn't post, Leisha? Okay. If y'all want the Discord link, it's in my bio. You can also find it there. But I'll be posting all the books that we read today in there as a running list. So if any of them stood out to you and you wanted to know what they were, they'll be there for you. I saw I don't like to call out people when they just join and aren't chatting, but once in a while I have to. F1 Bin joined in. And as a fellow F1 fan, welcome, my friend. I hope you had fun at Zandvoort this weekend. But outside of the world of F1, y'all, thank you very much for joining me. Keep in mind, this Friday, let's see, where is it? Here it is. This Friday, we're going to be doing our Fantasy Map Friday. We're going to be making a Fantasy Map live on stream. It's going to be a ton of fun, y'all. We have been making great progress on it. I'm super excited to get back to it. So please, Friday, 7 a.m. Central Time, we will be here making maps. And then we're going to pivot back to our regular schedule. So then we'll be back on Monday and Wednesday and Friday going forward for the foreseeable future. Always doing something bookish, something authorly, something about publishing or fantasy, etc., etc. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to having you for the next few streams. Folks, as always, a very special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com for the use of his songs Farm, Manor, Cottages, and Northern Glade, which have provided our background music today. As well, an extra special thank you to community member Raffi the Engineer, who produced a song specifically for this stream, Midnight at the Roundtable, which, wow, it just started playing. That's pretty sick. What timing. Rafi, thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate you, my friend. Of course, no stream is complete without a shout out to my excellent mods, Melissa Lee 28, Rafi the Engineer, One Happy Harpy, Simp1X, other name wasn't available, aka Slendy, Leisha T, and Aaron Winnick, y'all. Appreciate you keeping the vibes up. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much. Lastly, if you've enjoyed our stream today, please give me a follow so I can see you on the next one, because we will be back in 2 days' time. Friday, 7 a.m. It's map day. The best day of the week, folks. I look forward to seeing you here for it. I look forward to coming back to it. It's going to be good. So until then, y'all, thank you for being here. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you again on Friday.